Internet, here's what you need to know about measuring voltage on AMD motherboards. Hey Internet, Gordon Young with PC World here at Computex 2023, and I have an expert on power supplies and all things PC with me. Eris, by the way, you can see his great content over at Hardware Busters. Go to his channel, like and subscribe. But I have him here for a few minutes. I didn't want to ask him about measuring voltage on AMD motherboards. There's been a lot of confusion. Like for me, I don't know what I should look at. You recently wrote a story on your site on something called SVI3. Can you explain to me what that means? Because I just pull up the utility, I look at it, I see voltage.
Yeah.
Where is that measured? How much does that matter? And should I care about that more?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Gordon, for having me here with you. So, SVI3, imagine that it's the power management of the CPU. The CPU is able to manage directly the VRMs of the mainboard. The VRMs, voltage regulation modules, are the ones that pump power to the CPU and all the rest components. The CPU cannot get directly power from 12 volt, for example. It needs to pass through the VRMs, which lower voltage, and then this voltage is used, this power is used by the CPU, SoC, and all other components. The thing now they did, it was SVI2, SVI3, the newest generation SVI3 used in the Ryzen 7000 processors, allows the processor, when it is lightly used, to shut off some of the VRMs. For example, you know, you have heard about power phases. Mainboards have 12 power phases, 20, 5, 10, doesn't matter. We call them VRMs. But in essence, imagine that these are small PSUs. So in a mainboard, say you have 5 small PSUs, which fit the processor. So the processor says, I run at light load. I don't need all 5 PSUs to run at the same time because there are energy losses there. So I will shut down 4 of them. I only use 1 PSU to power me. I don't need high power. But once the PSU, for example, runs a Prime 95 test, so he needs all the power, immediately he turns on all power phases, all those small PSUs. So SVI3 gives to the processor this ability to talk to the VRMs, shut them down, but it also gives the ability to the CPU to monitor their condition. CPU can check the voltage on the VRMs. It can say, for example, this VRM doesn't perform that good, so I won't use it so much. And this lowers frequency. This is why power phases and VRMs are important. Some people say, hey, why I should select a good PSU? You know, the VRMs are powered by the PSU. If the PSU doesn't deliver clean voltage, steady voltage, then the VRMs won't be able to operate at 100%. And this drops performance. Okay, for a plain user, you might not notice that performance drop, but it's there. So if you want to make a good system, you also have to select the proper PSU. Power is everything. Power is everywhere. If you understand power, like this problem now that we had, you know everything. About SVI3 now. AMD told us that SoC needs to be 1.3 volt. Okay. They mentioned after some problems, which, as I hear, okay, it wasn't mass destruction. There are some users having that problem. AMD told to the public, okay, you need 1.3 volt SoC. The thing is that AMD didn't tell us initially where to measure 1.3. On the VRMs, when you measure on the VRM output, till it reaches to the CPU socket, there's a voltage drop on the PCB traces. It didn't tell us if I should measure on the CPU, behind the socket. We didn't know. At some point, AMD mentioned that, okay guys, you need to measure on the CPU, internally. You cannot do that. I cannot open the CPU, put a probe inside and measure. So the only way is to register. AMD provides a hardware sensor. It's a sensor inside the CPU. You can read it through a register. This is where HW info comes in. And If you check HW info and you see SoC SVI 3 below 1.3 volts, you are okay. You can measure 1.5 volts in the VRM, okay. If it's below 1.3 volt SVI 3 SoC, it's fine. You don't have any problem at all.
Okay, so if I'm regular person, again, I just fire up, download HW info, great utility, because there's a million readouts for voltage. The one that I want to know as a regular person, monitor SVI3, and that's how I know I'm okay.
SVI3 SoC, yeah. This is the CPU's internal sensor. Now, I can argue here, okay, AMD tells me that. How I'm sure that the reading is accurate there? I cannot. As an engineer, I can only believe what I can measure with my own equipment. So I have to trust AMD that the reading there is actually the one that they say it is.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that because I measured a substantial voltage drop between the CPU socket and what the CPU inside says. And this is what troubled me a bit. But in general, I have worked on all these new Ryzen CPUs with XPO profile enabled. I have done so many tests with the older mainboard BIOS. I didn't have any problems so far. I don't find it that it is something extreme, that if it was something huge, we will see RMA rates going over the top. I know that you also know that this was not the case. We didn't have excess RMA rates.
Yeah.
There was a problem, sure, there was something. When you see smoke, there's a fire also.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely feels like there's more to learn. We're sort of in the early stages of it, and I don't think, I think part of it is maybe misunderstanding, like for regular people like me, and we just don't know what to think of it, but there definitely weren't a lot of failures with the original problem, so.
It's a new socket. SVI3, it's a new.
Right.
It's a new protocol. It's a new. For AMD, they just. I believe that such problems can exist. Okay, but you have to support the users that face these issues.
Right.
This was. It was more a marketing disaster, if you ask me, rather than engineering problem there.
Yeah.
And the same, of course, goes for the 4090, for the melted connectors.
Right.
I told from the start that there's no problem there. Just the users that were not trained well. I've also faced this issue myself. You don't hear a click in the connector.
Yes.
You have to go all the way. And from the first, when somebody mentioned that, I tell them initially, guys, it is not the problem with the connector. The problem is that we have to be more experienced in this stuff.
Right.
It's a new connector.
I agree with you because, yeah, it's the first new connector in 15 years, 16 years.
Yeah.
We're so used to that big connector. It's large, it makes that noise. It's going to take a couple of years for people to get used to this. It's not going to change. It's not going to go away for 12-volt high power. We just have to get used to make damn sure you're pushing it all the way and it's locked in.
I prefer it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Instead of having 3 PCI Express cables.
Or 4,
Yeah.
right? For 600 watts.
Yeah,
right?
or 4. You have just one. Personally, I prefer it.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful how to use it. Some people say, okay, I cannot bend it.
Right.
If you take any cable and you try to bend it very, very hard, it will have a problem.
Right. I was thinking it's actually very similar to when we moved from PGA to LGA.
Yeah.
Because for the first few years, people were like, they would destroy the motherboard because they didn't realize, they weren't used to the LGA pins. They didn't realize how delicate they are. For the first few years, people would continually destroy boards because they weren't used to it.
Yeah.
Now it's not a big deal. And we're kind of like that. Yeah, PGA, easier to deal with, but ultimately...
I prefer LGA too.
Yeah, I mean, LGA, there's a real engineering advantage for it. It's better, denser, and all that stuff. But it takes years to get used to it. So it's kind of similar to that. And I guess we can almost go back to SVI3 here. We have to know where to read it, how to get used to it, and everybody has to. It takes, it's an industry. They have many, many partners, and not everybody's on the same page at the same time. So it takes a while. Right?
As I told you, the best way to read it is through HW Info. You cannot do, and a plain user won't take his mainboard like I did, have it sideways and probe.
Right.
It's very, very dangerous.
Right.
And I used special probes to do that, because if you shot something below the CPU, your CPU is dead. And the mainboard probably is dead, so don't do that stuff.
Don't do that,
Yeah.
use HW. But to sum up, I'm a regular AMD person. I just bought my 7000. I'm freaked out. I download HW Info. I should care only about SVI 3 if I'm
Yeah.
concerned about it.
As I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Great information. Again, I want to point out, internet, you need to get good information from smart people, and Aris is one of the smartest ones around. Go to his channel, Hardware Busters. Click the like and subscribe, and smash that bell button. In the meantime, come back to PC World's channel for more Computex 2023 coverage, and go to PCWorld.com for great PC news.